Foo Fighters are an American rock band formed in Seattle in 1994. Foo Fighters was initially formed as a one-man project by former Nirvana drummer Dave Grohl. Following the success of the eponymous debut album Foo Fighters, Grohl recruited a band consisting of Nate Mendel, William Goldsmith, and Pat Smear. After a succession of lineup changes, including the departures of Goldsmith and Smear, the band formed its core lineup in 1999 consisting of Grohl, Mendel, Chris Shiflett, and Taylor Hawkins. In 2005 Smear returned to the band, and in 2017 Rami Jaffee joined the band performing the keyboards and piano. Prior to the release of Foo Fighters' 1995 debut album Foo Fighters, which featured Grohl as the only official member, Grohl recruited bassist Nate Mendel and drummer William Goldsmith, both formerly of Sunny Day Real Estate, as well as Nirvana touring guitarist Pat Smear. The band began with performances in Portland, Oregon. Goldsmith quit during the recording of their second album, The Color and the Shape. Most of the drum parts were re-recorded by Grohl. Smear departed soon afterward but appeared as a guest with the band frequently from 2005. He rejoined in 2010. Smear and Goldsmith were replaced by Franz Stahl and Taylor Hawkins. Stahl was fired before the recording of the group's third album, There Is Nothing Left to Lose. The band briefly continued as a trio until Chris Shiflett joined on guitar after the completion of There Is Nothing Left to Lose. Foo Fighters released their fourth album, One by One, in 2002. It was followed with the two-disc In Your Honor, which was split between acoustic songs and heavier material. Foo Fighters released their sixth album, Echoes, Silence, Patience and Grace, in 2007. For Foo Fighters' seventh studio album, Wasting Light, produced by Butch Vig, Smear returned as a full member. Sonic Highways was released as the soundtrack to the television miniseries directed by Grohl. Concrete and Gold was the second Foo Fighters album to reach number 1 in the United States and their first studio album to feature longtime session and touring keyboardist Rami Jaffee as a full member. The band's 10th album, Medicine at Midnight, was the last to feature Hawkins, who died in March 2022. Over the course of their career, Foo Fighters have won 15 Grammy Awards, including Best Rock Album 5 times, making them among the most successful rock acts in Grammy history. In 2021, the band was announced as recipients of the first-ever Global Icon Award at the 2021 MTV Video Music Awards. They were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2021, their first year of eligibility. History, background and first demos. In 1990, Dave Grohl joined the grunge band Nirvana as drummer. During tours, he took a guitar with him and wrote songs, but was too intimidated to share them with the band. He was in awe of the songs written by frontman Kurt Cobain. Grohl occasionally booked studio time to record demos and covers, issuing an album of demos, Pocket Watch, under the pseudonym Late. In 1992, Nirvana disbanded after the death of Cobain in 1994. Grohl received offers to work with various artists. Press rumors indicated he might join Pearl Jam, and he almost accepted a position as drummer in Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Grohl later said, "I was supposed to just join another band and be a drummer the rest of my life. I thought that I would rather do what no one expected me to do." Grohl instead entered Robert Lang Studios in October 1994 to record 15 of his own songs. With the exception of a guitar part on Ecstatic, played by Greg Dully of the Afghan Whigs, Grohl played every instrument and sang every vocal. He completed an album's worth of material in 5 days and handed out cassette copies of the sessions to his friends for feedback. Grohl hoped to stay anonymous and release the recordings in a limited run under the name Foo Fighters, taken from Foo Fighter, a World War II term for unidentified flying objects. He hoped the name would lead listeners to assume the music was made by several people. He said later, "Had I actually considered this to be a career, I probably would have called it something else, because it's the stupidest fucking band name in the world." The demo tape circulated in the industry, creating interest among record labels. Formation and debut album. Grohl formed a band to support the album. He spoke to Nirvana bassist Chris Novoselic about joining the group, but they decided against it. Grohl said it would have felt really natural for them to work together, but would have been weird for the others and place more pressure on Grohl. Instead, Grohl recruited bassist Nate Mendel and drummer William Goldsmith, both of the recently disbanded Seattle group Sunny Day Real Estate. Nirvana touring guitarist Pat Smear joined as second guitarist. Grohl licensed the album to Capitol Records, releasing it on his new label, Roswell Records. Foo Fighters made their live public debut on February 23, 1995, at the Jambalaya Club in Arcata, California, followed by performances at Sadie Ricken in Portland on March 3 and the Velvet Elvis in Seattle on March 4. The show on March 3 had been part of a benefit gig for the investigation of the rape and murder of GITS singer Mia Zapata. Grohl refused to do interviews or tour large venues to promote the album. Foo Fighters undertook their first major tour in the spring of 1995, opening for Mike Watt. The band's first single, "This Is a Call," was released in June 1995, and its debut album Foo Fighters was released the next month. "I'll Stick Around," "For All the Cows," and "Big Me" were released as subsequent singles. The band spent the following months on tour, including their first appearance at the Reading Festival in England in August. "I The Color and the Shape/I. None. I There Is Nothing Left to Lose/I. None. I One by One/I. None. I In Your Honor/I. None. I Echoes, Silence, Patience and Grace/I. None. I Wasting Light/I. None. I Sonic Highways/I and I Saint Cecilia/IEP. None. I Concrete and Gold/I. None. I Medicine at Midnight, Studio 666/I and Hawkins' Death. None. Musical style and legacy. Foo Fighters have been described as grunge, alternative rock, post-grunge, hard rock, and pop rock. They were initially compared to Grohl's previous group, Nirvana. Grohl acknowledged that Kurt Cobain was an influence on his songwriter. "Through Kurt, I saw the beauty of minimalism and the importance of music that's stripped down." Foo Fighters also used the technique of shifting between quiet verses and loud choruses, which Grohl said was influenced by the members of Nirvana liking the Knack, Bay City Rollers, Beatles, and ABBA as much as we liked Flipper and Black Flag, I suppose. Writing and recording songs for their first album by himself, Grohl intended for the guitar riffs to be as rhythmic as possible. He approached the guitar in a similar manner to his drumming, assigning various drum parts to strings on the instrument. This allowed him to piece together songs easily. He said, "I could hear the song in my head before it was finished." Once Grohl assembled a full band, the members assisted in song arrangements. Pitchfork described Grohl and the band as his generation's answer to Tom Petty, a consistent hit machine pumping out working-class rock. The band members meld melodic and heavy elements. Grohl noted in 1997, "We all love music, whether it's the Beatles or Queen or punk rock. I think the lure of punk rock was the energy and immediacy, the need to thrash stuff around. But at the same time, we're all suckers for a beautiful melody, you know? So it is just natural." Grohl said in 2005, "I love being in a rock band, but I don't know if I necessarily want to be in an alternative rock band from the 1990s for the rest of my life." Grohl noted that the band's acoustic tour was an attempt to broaden the group's sound. Band members. Timeline.